Welcome to the Leader's Edge podcast. I'm Sandy Laycox, editor-in-chief of Leader's Edge. This episode is our inaugural Reader's Edge podcast. Our new book reviewer, Scott Noggle, an independent bookstore owner and BXS Insurance president of Consumer Solutions, interviews Jack Davis, author of The Bald Eagle, The Improbable Journey of America's Bird. Davis, who is a Pulitzer Prize-winning writer, says, "I wanted to tell a story of our environmental history, but not a grim and tragic one." Please enjoy their fun and informative conversation on America's Bird.
Good day and welcome. Jack Davis is with us today. He is the author of the wonderful new book, The Bald Eagle, The Improbable Journey of America's Bird. Welcome, Jack. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure, Scott.
Jack, in every aspect, this was just a great book to read. The research, the history. When I first started the book, you took me back to revolutionary times, and I was in the room with some of our people that founded this country and brought us right up forward, all on, this is an awful pun, the wings of the bald eagle. What was your impetus? What was the seed? When did you first start to think that you might want to write about the bald eagle?
I think I decided I wanted to write about the bald eagle after I finished the Gulf of Mexico book, and I wanted to write obviously another environmental book or about the American environmental history, but I wanted to give readers a break from the usual grim and tragic story of our environmental past and write about something that was a bit more uplifting, something about an environmental success story. And the bald eagle is that, which is not to say it doesn't have its grim and tragic moments in its history, the bald eagle's history of the United States. But it also has some redeeming moments, and we're living one of those moments right now, and it's wonderful to see because, as we all know, the bald eagle population now is thriving when it once wasn't.
It is amazing to see, and I can often, or not often enough, see them standing on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. I can look out and spot a bald eagle, which is something that is becoming more and more of an occurrence, where I hear people say that they have seen them. I want to step back a moment. You mentioned your book that immediately preceded this one, and I want to give it the proper due as well. The title is The Gulf, The Making of an American Sea, and it's a wonderful history of the Gulf of Mexico, and it also very correctly earned you a Pulitzer Prize for that work. But I'm also glad in reading your book, it was not only informative, but as you touched upon, it was nice to end a book or get to the end where it was a success story, and we could see the eagle and the population increasing. Your writing style is something that I think that distinguishes your book. You put the person at the scene. You're very personal, I think, in injecting your knowledge, your thoughts. Passionate at times, which comes through, which I think is what made it such interesting reading. Have you had a long-standing love for the bald eagle, its journey? How did you become so personally interested in it?
Well, no, I can't. Unlike the Gulf, which, as you know, I grew up on the Gulf of Mexico, and I have this lifelong relationship with this and love for the Gulf of Mexico. The bald eagle, no, I don't think a lot of us do, because the bald eagle was just not around. And I'm a baby boomer, and so I didn't see the bald eagle growing up anywhere. And I don't think I saw my first bald eagle in the wild until the late 1990s. And so when it's not in your life, it's hard to have that lifelong love or passion for anything in particular. But as I as it was coming back, I became more interested in it, as the rest of us do. And I came also interested in how we Americans have responded to the comeback of the bald eagle in the last few decades. And it's been a phenomenal comeback. In 2010, the population quadrupled, and today, continent-wide, it's probably around 500,000, which is equal to the estimated size of the population at the time that Europeans began settling North America. So that's quite extraordinary, coming back from a nadir in 1963 of fewer than 500 nesting pairs in the entire lower 48 states. And so but also what fascinated me as much as the bird itself, as the more I was learning about it, was our own fascination with the bird. Excuse me, our love of this thing. It's you see it crossing the sky, and it's one of those poke the guy in the ribs next to you excitement. You have to point it out. You have to say something. You have to squeal or squawk or something. The reaction is phenomenal. And I don't care, I don't care who you are, whether you're a red, white, and blue American, or a tree hugger, or a birder, or all of those things in one. Everybody loves the bald eagle, and that's what I like as well about the story and about the bird itself. The way it has this very magnetic draw and to it.
Along those lines, and I believe the photo's in the book, but I've seen the photo of you holding a bald eagle. And if I remember correctly, the bald eagle's name is Sarge.
That's right.
Tell us about what it was, the preparation you had to do for that, and how you remained calm, and how that all came about. Because in the photo, you're smiling. You look as happy as could be. I can't take personal human feelings and put them on the bald eagle, but he or she looked very content as well, Jack. So tell me about how that came about.
Yeah, so Sarge is a she, and Sarge is a flightless eagle. She has a feather deformity, and she's been in captivity most of her life. She belongs to a raptor center, excuse me, a raptor center in Largo, Florida, coincidentally where I grew up. And I was invited, somebody who was in charge of the raptor center at the time learned that I was writing this book and invited me to come down and meet Sarge. And it took a few months before I finally got down there to meet Sarge. And Sarge is accustomed to people and being on people's arms. And she is part of an avian vet or veteran rehabilitation program for veterans who suffer from PTSD. And so Patrick Bradley, who started this program, says he puts wounded bird together with wounded vets. And so Sarge has been, again, on a number of people's arms, and it wasn't any problem getting her on my arm. I was excited to have her there, as you said. I mean, my smile in the picture is genuine, and it wasn't intended to be my author photo, but we all liked it. We, meaning the people at the Raptor Center, I liked it so much. I said, "Oh my gosh, this needs to be on the book cover," and the press loved it too. And and Sarge, by the way, Scott, has come to a couple of my golf talks, public golf talks on the Gulf of Mexico.
That would be just phenomenal. And that's one of the interesting things I learned in reading your book, and I'll use the wrong term, so please correct me, but it's not domesticated, but that eagles can be properly kept and shown and displayed, and occasionally fly a circuit and come back and land back on someone's arm. That was just fascinating to me.
Yes, and as you know from reading a book, not all eagles are receptive to interaction with the public, but some of them are. And eagles are not the easiest birds to keep in captivity and to use in educational programs in which they might interact with the public. Other raptors, such as owls and hawks, are better and better adapted to those kind of interactions. but some bald eagles do quite well. And as you said, the American Eagle Foundation in eastern Tennessee has a number of eagles that do that at various events. They'll fly off of the arm of one handler and fly, across the stadium or around the stadium, or across a racetrack and land on the other and another trainer's arm, and they're quite spectacular to see.
Well, if I remember correctly, with up to a 7-foot wingspan, that would be just phenomenal to see. If you could tell us a bit about the Eagle Repository in Colorado. I wasn't aware of what appears to be very good work that's being done by the National Wildlife Federation and their funding of an Eagle Repository and an Eagle Center, if I remember correctly, outside Denver, Colorado.
Yes, outside Denver, and it's actually a U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
Sorry.
Facility.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is so it's illegal to keep an eagle feather. If an eagle flies overhead and a feather drops from it, you are by law required to turn it into authorities. And if you find an eagle dead on the road or in the woods, you are also required to turn that into authorities. And all dead eagles and eagle parts end up, or at least those that are found, are sent to the National Eagle Repository right outside Denver. And there they are processed for use by Native American cultures. The bald eagle has long been an important bird in many Native cultures, as it's regarded as a spirit bird, a messenger between the people and their lost ancestors and the Creator. And they fly high, they get close to that spirit world, and they're used in numerous types of rituals among a number of Native groups across North America. And so all those dead eagles that end up at the repository are processed, and their feathers, their talons, their other body parts are distributed almost exclusively to Native peoples. And one thing that I'm sure you remember from reading the book, the one person who for years has been the one processing the eagle bodies is known as the mother plucker.
Yes, I recall that. Yes. There are so many good stories within your book of people who took tremendous risk to preserve and advance the cause of rebounding the eagle population. Are there one or two that stuck with you in particular?
Yes, there are. And as you know from the book, the eagle was on the brink of extinction twice in our history. Late 19th and early 20th century, because Americans were shooting the eagle, treating it as any other predator, like a wolf or a coyote. We hear all about the slaughter of the bison, but we don't hear about the American slaughter of the bald eagle. And so the early 20th century, there were a number of people who arose to try to save the eagle from extinction. It seemed duplicitous, it seemed dishonest, it seemed disgraceful that the living bird behind this very powerful national symbol might be lost. And so among those people, two really, there's a Rosalie Edge, who founded the Emergency Conservation Committee in response to National Audubon, which would not take a stand to save the bald eagle. And another one is Francis Herrick, who was the first scientist in the 1920s to conduct a major study of the bald eagle, and wrote this wonderful book titled American Eagle, and really fell in love with the bald eagle and became an outspoken advocate of their protection. And then, of course, the second time we pushed it to the brink of extinction unintentionally, was with DDT, as we push a lot of species, including the osprey, to the brink. And a couple of people stand out there too. Doris Mager, who in 1979 spent 6 days in an eagle nest to raise awareness about the plight of the bald eagle. And spent the rest of her life from her 40s into her 90s. She's still at it, going around the country speaking on behalf of raptors and bald eagles in particular. And Charles Broley, a retired banker from Winnipeg, who retired to Florida in the 1930s, began climbing 60, 70, 80, 90-foot tall pine trees to ban eaglets. Nobody was doing that systematically at the time. And he did that for 20 years until age 79. And he was he was probably the first person to make a link between the declining eagle population and DDT. But also even equally important is that his work banning eaglets enables science to figure out the migration patterns of bald eagles.
Jack, I have to congratulate you. This is an absolutely fascinating book. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed. I waited to get home in the evening so I could sit down and spend some time reading your book. It's so much. It's the bald eagle. It's a huge slice of American history. It's a huge slice of humanity. And as you stated earlier, it's a success story. I can't thank you enough. Jack Davis, thank you for joining us today.
Scott, my pleasure.
That was Scott Noggle and Jack Davis. I hope you enjoyed it. Be on the lookout for Scott's next interview, as well as the rest of our podcasts at leadersedge.com.